All right.
Okay, so it's 6:35, time to start the meeting for the Conservation Commission for Tuesday, February 25th, 2025 at City Hall, room 215, 140 Main Street, Torrington, Connecticut. Present this evening is Karen Svetz, myself, Christine Altman, Assistant City Planner Nate Nardi Cyrus, and also present is Annette Lott. So for new business, we're not going to do East-West Engineering because they didn't get us the information on time. So the Conservation Commission Annual Report.
So yeah, this is something that we don't need to take a motion for it or anything like that. I don't think it's one of the obligations of the Conservation Commission and the charter to submit our annual activities. So
Did you get to see it?
I circulated it a while ago. If no one has any comment, I can just go ahead and send it
I thought it
off.
was good.
Yeah,
I think I read it when it first came around.
yeah,
I thought you made it sound impressive.
yeah. We did a lot of stuff last year. We did a lot of stuff.
I was impressed by it. Okay, so that will just go to the mayor.
Yeah, it'll go to, I'll put it on the agenda for council and
Okay.
then they'll,
I don't even know if they'll just see it.
Mhm.
They don't have
It'll
to,
just be in the
they'll
record.
acknowledge that it
Yeah.
was received.
Okay. So next order of business is phone tree for commission member intercommunication. So this was because we were having trouble getting hold of each other during Winterfest.
Oh,
And we have each other's email. We have email addresses, but I don't think we have phone numbers for everybody.
what I could do is I could circulate like a Google Sheets
Mhm.
if everyone's okay with that, and just like I'll share the link and just have people update phone number.
Yeah, and just explain why, because I think it's fine, if
Yeah.
it's for like an event where you can't find where people are.
Right, and then everyone can have the link to it, I guess, and
Mhm.
we can encourage people to put some contacts in their phones if they want to, but
I'll make a note to do that.
And then Winterfest debrief.
yeah, we were all there at various times.
It was cold.
It was
and
cold.
it was tough because it was cold, so
Yeah.
cold, yeah.
Annette, you were there as well.
Briefly in the morning. It was very cold.
It was cold. We were in a non-ideal spot, but I guess it needed to be
I don't
there.
think there was an ideal spot.
Yeah,
There wasn't a spot that wasn't, like I went down to the areas that were sunnier,
yeah.
they were all miserable.
But they were
Everything was
windy
mis-
and-
they were-
yeah.
Everything was windy, like the hill was windy and down below was windy.
But they had 1,700 attendees over the
Wow.
course of the event. It seemed like everyone probably most people
They
spent it on the
They-
ice,
They fished and they
Um,
ice skated.
which is cool. I don't know if we do it next year. We can kind of cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess.
I thought it was interesting. It was really a lot of City of Torrington. Like it's a good,
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, the fire department was there, Torrington Trails Network was there. We were there. I just felt like, it was a bit of advertising. for
Boy
us,
Scout,
really.
I think
Yeah.
Boy
Oh,
There was
Scouts.
Boy Scouts there.
I'll say in terms of if it's okay for me to speak,
Oh, yeah, you're part of the meeting.
all right. We didn't know enough ahead of time, and we brought some stuff. But realizing how kid focused it is, we do have more like kid focused activities and crafts we do from doing library programs. Again, we can cross that bridge when we get there and talk about it next year. But I would say feel free to reach out to us when you're considering doing it. I wouldn't mind partnering or share being at the
Yeah.
same table. If
So
that's
interestingly, the
interesting to
seed
you.
seed packets were really popular.
Yeah.
People love the seed packets.
And you said people were getting the coloring books were
People were into the coloring books, yeah.
the the NRCS coloring books.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Um,
Yeah.
But okay, well yeah.
I mean, I don't know what good it was. It was not a lot of, I didn't really interact with too many locals. Did you? They were from
We were there
all
near the
over
end,
place.
but there wasn't a lot of people at all
New
at the
Haven.
end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So in the morning, I mean, people were from all over the place and not so much from Torrington.
yeah.
But
Well, it's
I didn't
it's a
think it was
place that people
bad.
can find ice that in other parts of the states, there's not really.
Right.
You always find winter in Torrington.
Okay. So let's move on to old business. Jigs Donahue Food Forest Planning.
So there's two kind of major things that transpired with this. The first, and I think, Annette, you were there in the beginning of this conversation at the counter. But we're
Yeah.
talking with Christine about, instead of kind of replicating what we did last year with Bannon Street, where we sent out a mass mailer
Mhm.
and, you know, tried it that way. Didn't really get a lot of, we didn't get any, well, we got a couple people, I'd say, that responded to the mailer and that participated in it. But our thinking was the new Ed Advanced building is up there on Grove Street. Try to partner with a school on it with that Ed Advanced is what we were thinking. Do something maybe even during the week or whatever, just, right, exactly. And kind of cut out trying to do the direct marketing of it when a lot of people, you know, aren't going to be enticed to go just from something in the mail anyway.
Mhm.
So Christine got me a contact of one of her friends who works at Ed Advance, and I had a conversation with her. She spoke to their executive director, and he thought that it wasn't a great fit with that Ed Advance because it's Head Start and they're all preschoolers.
Mm.
So it's kind of, you know, it's a little young. They have to walk around the block there. It just wasn't really an ideal situation for them. But they're in all of the younger schools in Torrington. And she said, well, they do have grant obligations where they have to do parent outreach. So they were really interested in partnering on a weekend event, circulating it, doing all the promotion pretty much themselves in the schools, and doing something where they bring like a food truck and make it kind of an event. You know, Conservation District, they were interested in the idea of doing like educational stuff, the river's there,
Yeah.
and also helping with the planting. So I told her I would bring it to this meeting and that we could maybe schedule a smaller meeting or invite her to the next Conservation Commission meeting to talk about it. But to me, I think that seems like a great way to do it. And it kind of takes some of the promotional
Pressure,
element
yeah.
off. Some of the questions would be, do we still do some kind of like immediate abutters send stuff just so that they know about it, so it's not a complete surprise? We obviously want to keep the Park and Rec Commission appraised of everything that's happening, so they feel like they're a part of it, and you know, we're not trying to slide anything behind their back. But yeah, I don't know what you think about that instead of doing kind of what we did last time. Yeah.
Someone's willing to, to take on part of it and help get the word out and get kids involved. I don't know.
Yeah.
In terms of,
I think that sounds great. You know, glad that it wasn't just a no, it was a no, but we have this other idea. You know, that's really, I think they probably have a greater reach towards that family audience of, you know.
Mhm.
And as I was saying before, we do have sort of our own catalog of like kids activities and could definitely tailor our programming towards that as well. So no, I think that sounds great. I'm hopeful that could be a good partnership.
I think you could take or leave notifying the immediate abutters. It seems like a considerate thing to do.
Right.
To invite them.
Right. I mean, it's not as hard. Before, I actually put a lot of my own time because we couldn't generate a list of the actual residents in that area. So I had to go through and drive through that neighborhood and be like, 2 units, 1 unit, 3 units, because otherwise it would have gone to the property owner and they're
Right.
not going to distribute it to their
Right.
tenants,
Right.
you know, because that's all we have on the property card records. So I did a lot of like kind of just like ground truthing, and it's like I'm not going to do that for this. But I mean,
And
I can do it.
Do we still have the lawn sign too?
We do. It's considerably tailored to that site.
Yeah.
But we
Oh,
can
I
kind of
did
modify-
forget. Yeah.
I know. In retrospect, I would have made something a little bit more general, kind of like what we do with our cleanup signs, because every year we reuse our lawn cleanup,
Right.
trash cleanup sign. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we could still modify it with white tape. You know, I
Yeah.
don't know. I kind of wanted to hold off on
You could
asking.
make some color prints that cover that might match.
Like a
Yeah, the vinyl, like a vinyl sticker or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you have the original file?
I do. Yep.
we would just need to get that printed somewhere, because I'm kind of holding off on my, on Right Way, because I wanted to ask them for a banner sign, you know how we didn't have one of
Yeah.
those? I kind of want to ask to donate one of those.
I mean, we can price it out with them because we can price it out with Right Way, we being the district. We updated or we get vinyl stickers from them to update our plant sale signs. So I don't know how much it would cost for like a, two copies or something to fix it, but I can at the very least ask. And if it's inconsequential, we're, happy to, if it's not in your
Okay.
budget. But
I
I'll look into that since I'll be in touch with them anyways.
Okay. I had an idea about our banner. I was wondering whether Dave's printer can print on Tyvek.
I don't know if those are the plotters
It
are
is-
pretty
it's okay.
specialized. They have giant rolls.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, because I think there's rolls of Tyvek for printing.
We could ask, he would know, you
Yeah.
know, I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
it might not, if you have to buy, if they don't have Tyvek, right, like then
right,
it's
I
not
doubt
worth
that
it
they would.
because the roll will be humongous, but
Right, unless it was
Just-
something that we have, how much are we gonna print of
I have,
that?
yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, probably not a lot. Yeah, so anyway, so I mean, I guess if everyone is into the idea of pursuing this, I can try to set up more planning meetings for Jigs Donahue and
You want to talk about the master gardener?
yeah. So that's the first one. So that was exciting. But then I also was following the breadcrumbs to who's managing the community garden there. So
Uh-huh.
there's already a community garden, and I just got in touch with the right person this afternoon.
Wow.
Which was really great before this meeting. But she's wonderful. I guess she's what's her name? Of course,
Mary?
Mary Guilfoyle.
Yes.
So she is on the board for Kids Play, I believe. But she is a master gardener, and she's been coordinating that at that site for the past 8 years, I think. And she's all into it, and was great to talk to, because she knew a lot about the logistics and the site conditions. So she said, Annette, they actually did do a soil test of that site.
Oh, great.
They sent it to Connecticut Department of Ag,
Uh-huh.
and they did the testing for them, and that included heavy metal testing.
Great.
So theirs came back negative. She was saying, oh, well, you're not going to be right there, so you should do your own testing too. I mean, that's kind of up to us, but I mean, it is right there.
I was gonna say we basically are right there.
Yeah. And I like I said, I did kind of I looked back on aerial photos of that site. From
Yes,
the,
and
the
yeah.
30s, and it was forested in the 30s.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's really great. Are they running? So is she doing it on sort of as a master gardener, or is she just volunteering as a private citizen?
kind of both. I'm sure that probably was her master gardener project when she got
Gotcha.
certified. But she's working in a group of seems like primarily family and friends that have put this together. All of the food goes to Friendly Hands. So they're
Wow.
basically like doing it themselves with their own volunteers and donating all the food. And they are operating that site. And I think they may not anymore after talking to her today, but they were operating the one on Berzani, on the
Okay.
other park on Jackson Street, the one we went to. So, it would be great to eventually partner with them because, even if we
Yes.
weren't harvesting stuff, if people weren't going there and picking it, we could have like a harvest party and donate all the food. It would be
Yeah.
really, really cool to do, especially with kids, in the future. So
Yeah.
that was really exciting.
Yeah, I'm curious, and it's fine if you haven't gotten this, but talking about the site conditions, I tried to dig into it, but obviously the ground was still, frozen to an extent, so I don't know how compacted, or it felt pretty compacted, I think, earlier in the fall when I was out there. But I'm just curious, did she have anything to say about the workability of the soil and their
She said
experience with that?
she said it was rough. They did the
Yeah.
like the lasagna method, so they
Yeah.
basically amended the soil on top of it.
Gotcha. So obviously it's different for us having to plant a tree. But
were you able to ask to see if anyone has an auger or some kind of, if you said maybe there could be a donation from the equipment rental to.
Yeah, TBD. I'll look into that. I think I haven't done that since we last talked, but I think that would probably be something we can do a little closer to. And I say that only because I do
Right.
want to get out there and see how it feels once the ground's a bit more thawed, because we might not need it, you know.
Those things, put it in the ground and turn it.
Guess, you know, I'm not too worried about digging the holes for the smaller
Like a post hole digger?
aspects. It's just
So it loosens up the soil.
oh
Oh, like a tooth thing, like
Yeah.
a tooth tiller, like a hand tiller. Yeah, I think that this is more like an actual auger, like a gas auger to get in there. Right. If we had to loosen it, spend more time just manually decompacting it. Yeah, no, I agree. I haven't actually seen it either, so I don't know. It may be not as bad as we think.
Yeah, or
I'm not
even if
surprised
it's-
if it-
even if it's a, you know, a little bit of work, but like it can get done, you know, by, you know, us or whoever
Mhm.
is volunteering. Well, I guess I want to, you know, put a finger on it and come back in when
Okay.
it's a bit warmer. Before
Some other positive things that she brought up were that they had mulch and manure deliveries, and they said they'd be happy to coordinate with us to like
oh great,
mulch, and they get them as donations too, I think. So
did she say when that would be for them?
they already got their manure dump, but I don't know when they're going to be getting their mulch. But that's
Manure
something
meaning like actual manure or just a compost or
I think it's actual manure.
interesting, and that's just dropped next to the river right now.
No, it's not that close to the river. It's
I
like
mean-
it's like 200 feet from the river.
Is it
It's flat.
tarped off maybe?
It's not.
Anyways.
It's not in any risk of moving. It's so flat there, and you've been out there. It's not going to move to the river.
Okay. But no, definitely on mulch. Yeah, if we wanted to partner.
It's not a huge amount either. It's like a
No,
pickup
no,
truck
not at all.
load. So that's positive. The water, there's that water tank there. They said that the fire department fills that for them,
Oh, that's awesome.
and they'll just call and they'll come and they come into the Lark parking lot and they just drop a hose into it.
And they're
like,
willing to share.
Oh, absolutely. They said we just call.
Amazing.
They just show up anytime that they ask for water and they
Well,
fill
what
it
good
up.
news.
So yeah, a lot of really benefits to the site. Now on to the not benefits. So
they shared the concern about the shade. So
Yeah.
they said, it's very shady there. They really can only grow greens there. They can't grow tomatoes or peppers or anything. She said
Yeah.
that they probably get 5 hours of sun at the maximum.
Yeah.
So we were thinking about it in the land use office before the meeting, and the apples make us a little nervous because they
Yeah.
might be able to hang on, but they're not going to produce and they're going to take up space. Blueberries and currants, I think would probably be okay, even if they're not producing as much as they could.
Yeah.
But that's the question is, do we kind of hold off on the apples or find another site for them through the Conservation Commission or yourself, or you try to sell them on your plant sale or whatever? Or do we,
Yeah. We
I don't
can
know.
let me think about that. I mean, that's a good point. We're kind of aware of that to start, but
Yeah.
you know, an alternative tree we could do. They are not nearly as big, but we do get pawpaws, which do like the shade, at least for a long time while they're small. And I think by the time it gets bigger, it would get more of that sunlight, you know, be able to be a bit taller. But pawpaws are quite shade tolerant. They're also a very unique fruit that I think people, once they learn about, it's fun. It's actually, I think, one of the only large fruits native to North America. Anyways, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me, just given the shady conditions of the site. But let me look more into it before we fully say we're not going forward with the apples, because I just don't want to, preemptively I'm not an apple expert, you know, I agree my intuition, but I'm like, let me double check there's not anything we could do.
Sure. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. That makes sense. I'm trying to share this. It's not like showing up. I had kind of drafted a planting plan.
Right.
I don't know. Is this showing up for you? Do you see it on your screen?
Yes.
So I was looking at something like this to try to keep the blueberries together for ease of picking, and then the apples in the middle, and then currants on the side, and the others interspersed. And you can see the garden's pretty close here.
Yeah.
I think that they're probably going to want us to separate the garden. This is just kind of a minimum like a closest
Right.
spacing. This 10-foot off there's a sewer main there. So we also
Yep.
want to make sure that we're at least 10 feet from that. But to try to stay in the middle of this, but my thinking also was that we could do the blueberries and the currants and the mountain mint maybe in one planting,
Mhm.
and maybe even the pawpaws, and do the planting a little further to the
Yeah,
north
sure.
up here, and phase it and kind of come up with an idea of maybe we want to do I don't know, other potential more shade tolerant shrubs. And we were talking about what are they called again, gooseberry, or just like
Yeah.
things that thrive in the shade. And maybe we could do that in different phases, but start in a place that we could actually get those pawpaws in, like, because I wouldn't want them to be too close to the garden itself, to
No.
their garden. So I'd probably want that on the most northern bit, and then just kind of taper down. I mean, this is the north, so it's not going to put a lot of shade on the garden no matter
Right.
what. But just to keep at least like litter from the leaf
Yeah.
litter and drops and stuff away from their garden.
Can you remind me, was there a reason we didn't include raspberries?
I don't think so, but they would do well in the shade too.
Yeah, because we could definitely get some raspberries this year from the sale, like what we have ordered already. If we wanted, like, I'm thinking especially if we are gonna say no apples, like what else could we add? I'm like, I can easily get raspberries. I don't know, Christine, if you have more raspberries.
I might, we'll have to see.
But the other thing that I was thinking of, regardless of thinking about shade tolerant plants and options we have for that, beyond edible plants, I guess I'm curious how, like, if we wanted to add, I'm thinking about, like, we have a more like pollinator, but for shade tolerance. I'm sorry, it's jumping in and out. I don't know if somebody said something back.
Yeah, we just lost you for a second. I think it's still breaking up.
Ugh. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear. We can hear you
Oh.
now.
You can? Okay.
Grow in the shade.
Yeah, we talked.
It's kind of real in the
We
shade.
talked about rhubarb last time, and then I think Jeremy was saying, Spitz was like, he was worried that people would just start
Eating the leaves.
if they didn't know, and they.
I mean, I feel like rhubarb is kind of self-selecting. Like, it's pretty tart if you don't cook it.
I mean, it is something we could think about, but I mean, regardless, I agree. I think the raspberries, and even if we did the pawpaws, the raspberries, and then what we have there, it's not apples.
Yeah.
That's still around the same size of a planting,
Yeah.
And then what did you think of the possibility of trees being able to be trimmed back or taken down at some point in the future?
Yeah, we did. They were asking, the gardeners were very curious if the city would be able to take down some, they were saying top, but, remove some of the trees on this side, on the west side, just to open it up sunwise a little bit. There's kind of an embankment here. I don't know. That's something I can definitely talk to Public Works and the tree warden and all of them, and see if maybe that is something that can be done in conjunction with this. Yeah, I can follow up.
And for it. in the future, like in the near future.
Right. I almost feel like it'd be easier and cheaper to just fell the trees because it's
Right.
a kind of a, but there might be buffer issues. I don't know. I don't
I
know
was
what
gonna
they're.
say, I'm not a huge fan of cutting trees down from the buffer area around the stream. I think topping them makes more sense.
Is that the
In
stream?
in
No,
terms
so
of
this is,
That's not the stream side.
Annette, this is the other side.
no,
So
but
the
it's
stream
still the,
side-
the entire buffer area, it's still a buffer area of the stream.
Yeah,
the,
I see. It's the floodplain.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But these ones are actually, they're like kind of on an embankment. I don't know. Again, it's something that we can definitely explore with Public Works and just see, gauge their temperature on it anyway. If they're like, sure, no problem, then we can talk about it more, I guess. If they say absolutely not, then we can
Yeah.
just forget about it. I have to talk about them. I have to talk to their guy anyway, because we're going to want to make sure that they're okay with mowing around whatever monstrosity we create. So that's, that was what, that's their number one concern. Public Works is just how it's going to affect the mowing of the site. And that
Yeah,
came up in the meeting too. So
We could mulch in a rectangle if we, if that makes it easier for them. If they're
That
already
is-
going
that-
around
that
the
was a-
garden.
that was a condition for getting the garden done. Like
Was it?
the garden section. Yeah, they were like, she said we had to do a square mulch so they could run the mower right up to the edge of it. So we should plan to do something like that as
Yeah,
well.
that's fine. That makes sense.
But yeah, so I don't know. So Ned, if you want to run by like just maybe some what you have for shade tolerance, if you have access to all those, or
Yeah.
what you want to give up for that. And once you tell me that, I can try to develop an alternate planting plan that maybe has some room for future phase growth, but what we can do for this initial one that kind of sets it back a little bit.
Mhm.
And we'll just take it from there. So we kind of have two tracks. We have, we have to work with Ed Advance on planning the event, and then work
Mhm.
with the garden and Public Works on the siting and all that stuff. The garden people want to be part of the event too, which is
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's going to be
I
kind of
like
their
that.
kickoff for their season, so it'll, I think that'll be great.
Did
Yeah,
we? I apologize if I'm getting ahead of us. Are we set on a date yet? I know we were kind of discussing general ranges when I was last speaking with you, but has there been any development on that front, or are you waiting maybe for the rest of the commission to provide input? What's the plan there?
All I heard was that the Ed Advance wanted to do it sometime in May.
Okay.
is-
And I think I preferred May to earlier. So I'm fine with that.
I can circulate to the commission, and then maybe when we kind of consensus around a date.
Yeah.
Early May. I mean, early May is going to be great for planting, like.
Yep.
Best, so, yeah, try to avoid Mother's Day or not. I used to do a Mother's Day, plant a tree with your mother thing, at my old job, but a lot of times with that, it was like, well, for this actually would work well. We would have tons of trees. We'd be trying to plant like 100 trees or 50 trees or something like that. And like
Mhm.
people would come and you teach them how to plant one tree, and they would plant a tree with their mother and then leave. And then you'd have to teach the next person, and it was not an efficient way to get a lot of work done. But for this kind of site, that's perfect. Because planting that many shrubs is not going to take that long. Unless they have to dig the holes.
Yeah.
I don't know about in compacted soil, particularly if it's rooty.
We could do too. I'm sure, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but I'm pretty sure that I might be able to. So, do you guys know about cow pots?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just asking if they could donate any product for our plant sale. And I was like, because we were talking about for our plant sale doing like a little seating table so kids can make little pots and plant garden plants, flowers, whatever. Just I'm thinking about like if we want a contingency plan for the fact that maybe not everybody can plant a plant because like you're saying there's not a ton, and if we get a good turnout, like having a little seeding, Christine, you were saying people did seem to like the seed
I
packets.
love the seeds.
Yeah, that
Um,
way, if, you know, people come and they don't feel like they're doing anything, at least they'll have something.
They have an activity.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we could. That's even if Cowpots doesn't want to do it. Like, it's very easy to buy the little seed starting.
Do you guys know what Cowpots is?
I don't know what a cow pot is.
They took it's they're in North Canaan or like
Yep.
up there, and they take manure and they stamp it into a pot, and then that way it's got fertilizer, and then you just stick the whole pot in the ground.
Yeah, it's biodegradable. It's like a little fibery.
I feel like this is.
It almost feels like, I think, that like egg carton cardboard. You know, like it's not too
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But-
So I have a question, not really a question. I'm wondering if we could get out there, maybe sometime in April and lay down cardboard where we want to plant and, kill, like do our own little lasagna. It doesn't have to be multiple layers. It could just be cardboard with manure and mulch on top so that we don't have to remove, if we have to do a rectangular thing, we don't have to remove the grass, it'll be all dead.
Yeah.
And then we just have whatever equipment we need to dig the holes.
Yep, that sounds good.
I know Ifland Lumber has, and probably Torrington Sash and Door too. They have giant pieces of cardboard from, like the windows and doors come in,
Oh, okay. Yeah. But we'd have to get that done.
like,
Well, when everything thaws and
Yeah.
well, not thaws.
well, I'm
but
kind
when
of
that
wondering
melts.
whether, so Earth Day, we tend to have that rush at 9.
Yeah.
I just wonder if we have like somebody with a truck on that day, and we pick up the cardboard. And while people are picking up trash, like in that period of time, there's like an hour or two that you have before the trash pickup. And whether, some people can just go to Jigs Donahue, lay down, we just need to mark up where that would be, lay down the cardboard. Lay down something to hold it down, some mulch to hold it down. I don't know.
I mean, unless we think we want to just do it as a part of the event. too.
Oh, we could do it that way, right?
It's not
Because
gonna
you don't
actually
have
smother
to-
much at that point.
Right, that's true. Yeah, you're
it
right,
could
we
be-
could
it
just
could
do
be
that.
like a fun thing
That-
for the
yeah,
kids to.
actually,
get
that's a
big
great
pieces of
idea.
cardboard.
no-till gardening, like
Yeah.
understanding.
It'll give us more time to secure the mulch.
Yeah.
If-
Okay.
I don't know.
I
Again,
like that idea. That sounds less
Wait, so
stressful.
how- So instead of going ahead of time and putting cardboard?
Just do it that day, because you don't have to, I mean,
Well, what
you,
are you gonna do that day? It's just gonna be grass.
well, no, so what happens is, Nate is right. So I was just thinking that it would just make it kind of easier and it might aerate, make it easier to dig. But if the issue is roots, it's not gonna change anything. But when you lay down the cardboard, just within a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, the grass is dead and the worms start eating the cardboard from above. The soil gets pretty aerated. The
When you
grass
put
dies, so
mulch on top
you
of
put
it.
mulch on top.
just
yeah.
like
You're
a-
saying do it at the same day.
On the same day, so you put the trees in, you lay the cardboard, you could wet the cardboard and cut right through it. And you could lay the cardboard first and cut right through it where you want the,
The other thing that I've used for those, you're right, the cardboard's probably, if you can get big pieces, it'll be more efficient.
right, if you
I
have
use-
tiny little pieces, they float in the wind.
Right, I use coffee bags,
Coffee bag.
like for coffee
bag.
roasters, they have these like fiber bags that they
Oh.
use, and I just.
Where do
go-
you get, could I? where do
My
you get-
mom picks them up in huge amounts because they just dump, it's like cardboard. They want to
Okay.
get rid of them, and it's almost like a barrier. Yeah, they're organic and it's like a barrier.
Oh, so is it
but-
like a burlap bag?
Yeah,
Okay,
but they're small, right? They're
Right.
they're like this big. So a
But if
giant
we
piece
have
of
tons of
cardboard
them-
might be, yeah, if we have tons,
why not?
yeah.
I
So
mean, we just have to have enough, some kind of organic material and then mulch on top.
right.
So you have your bag, some kind of manure or soil or whatever, compost, and then mulch. And that will smother the grass.
And I'll take all these ideas and kind of work with Christine to consolidate them into like a plan so that
Yeah.
it's not just, we
Okay,
know what we
okay.
have to, an ordered thing and
Yeah.
what we have to get.
Um,
Right, exactly. What we have to ask for, try for donations, all that.
Okay. Okay. Is that for?
Yeah, and I mean, Annette, do you wanna, as far as meeting next, how do you wanna play this? Do you wanna just come to our next conservation meeting? Do you wanna meet, like, maybe you can just call me before then and we can kind of just coordinate? where we're at. Once we kind of come up with a game plan, we can run it by you.
Sure. I mean, if you want me to be involved at with any of the, I think you were talking about like maybe meeting with Ed Advance, or if you feel like
Yeah.
you guys have that handled, that's fine too. I'm happy to just check in. I'll be in touch regarding like plant stuff, once I check through what we have easy access to. But yeah, no, keep me in touch, and I'm happy to join in whenever's relevant or helpful.
Okay. Yeah, it's like it'll be here before we know it. I'm like, oh gosh.
I know.
But we have this meeting is March, and then April. Or no, yeah. This is February. We have the March meeting, and then the April meeting is after Earth Day. So we have one more meeting. So that'll just have to be the meeting
Yeah.
that we have our stuff together for Earth Day. Then we have another meeting before the Jigs Donahue planting. So yeah, sounds good.
All right, so our next order of business is Earth Day event planning.
I'm gonna leave you all.
All right,
Thanks.
Have a good rest of your evening.
okay, so I put together, I went through all of the files that we had on Earth Day in the office. I grabbed email addresses that anybody gave us and put them in an email list. And then I also made, you could call it a mailing list. I just filled out like labels, like Avery labels. So they can be printed. Yep. And of Torrington civic organizations, grocery stores, karate studios, dance studios, churches, coaches, science teachers, that kind of thing. So figure we can do a mailing, and this was Nate's flyer. I didn't like look when I was printing it, so it didn't print in color, but I was, and I think it's fine. I was just looking at it and wondering whether we should get a picture of trash, like instead of like a beautiful pristine thing, if it might be more incentive if we get an area that's pretty trashy, but could be beautiful. So I'm gonna go check out maybe tomorrow morning. I'll check out
That place off Newfield.
Thank you.
Volunteers needed up here. So if anyone wants to get it.
Okay.
yeah.
If you know.
Well, and we can cut out other words to like, I mean, I don't want it to get too wordy either. So I'm happy to cut out other stuff too. I don't know that we've been just going off of sort of,
What has been done in the past.
so I'm open to, if you want to, I can even mark that. out.
Yeah,
You mind if
so
I
then-
take this copy?
No, go ahead.
Let's mark it
There's
up.
plenty. So then, yeah, I did, I was looking at old newspaper clippings, and I thought I would put an explainer, which also might be too wordy, like it can be eviscerated. So I don't know if anybody wants to read it, and I tend to be, I'm a reader. I like words, but I know that a lot of people don't. So,
Well, and this is great I can mine this for the press release.
yeah,
And
yeah.
because they love little
Things
things
like
they
that.
can say, right?
Yeah.
Like 2012, 2013. I like that big gap in time. 11, 12, 13.
2022, there was stuff that happened, but I've only got one page.
Right. Basically like Kim leaves, nothing happens. So
Well, actually, in 2017, or maybe it was 2018, we didn't have enough volunteers to deal with all the trash. So we had like this decreasing amount of trash from, I would say, 2012 to maybe even 2011. We had like this decreasing amount of trash to about 2017, and then litter started happening a lot again. It was like different population, things just like it went insane. It blew up, and we didn't have enough volunteers for the amount of trash. And then this girl, Rana, was on Franklin Street looking at the mural, and there was trash all along the riverbanks. And she contacted the mayor and asked for permission to do a cleanup day in August maybe, or September. I think it might have been August, and it was called Every Day is Earth Day, and she got a whole bunch, it was a total
Wow.
grassroots thing, and they cleaned up Franklin Street and the river, and then, you know, joined us for that years. That's where Michael Kanan actually came from.
Oh,
His-
yeah.
His interest in Conservation Commission came from that cleanup, and then he's a friend of Rana's. So I was gonna put that one in, but there just wasn't really one.
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot of interesting things. have
yeah,
happened.
that's, pr-
But
I'll-
Thomas Candefer, I couldn't leave out.
no, that was my first year, and I was like, this is great. Yeah, so I'll use this to modify
Okay,
press release. Because it is the 20th anniversary, so.
Mhm.
And I feel like we're on the upswing for
Yes.
actually
yep.
getting this done.
So I figured I'd send that, a flyer, and a letter, which I forgot to print out the letter. But there was a letter, just basically, it's short and sweet. It's asking for people to form groups to participate and call me in advance, select a spot. And then if not that, to show up on the day. And if not that, to donate,
Right.
donate to us for,
Different
so this
tiers
was the
of,
thing, yeah, so
Opportunities.
because we had to change it to the Saturday before Easter. I was wondering if we could like actually hide prizes or do like hunts, like have a list of the different types of trash, or like have some kind of contest.
Right.
But like if you end up in a place where you have a lot of trash, you might just be dealing with the trash as opposed to
Oh, I know,
so I don't
because
know.
when you set up at Co Park, you
Right.
could do like a little
Easter egg hunt.
hunt.
Yeah,
you
so
know.
one of the things I was thinking was that we get the little eggs, and we don't need the donations from all the grocery stores for food because we have the NIPS money, right? But we could still solicit them for their
Bags of
gift
candy.
cards.
Yeah.
We could solicit them for the gift cards and
Mhm.
stick them in the eggs, so people are getting
Prizes.
prizes.
Oh.
So like you find like, yeah, an egg on top of a trash pile, and
Yeah.
it sounds pretty cool. And I've seen other organizations do sort of like biggest piece of trash, weird, like
Oh, yeah, so
funniest piece of
something- yeah, yeah, yeah.
garbage, like,
Yeah, so what are some ideas for that? I like, so biggest piece of trash.
like most bags of trash, right? Like the biggest volume, like the funniest piece of garbage.
Mhm.
Um,
Funniest find.
yeah. And we don't have to do a ton of them. We can
No,
just
that's
do
like good. Those are good.
that plus the Easter eggs. It's kind
Yep.
of,
Yeah. And then one of the things I've noticed is
Just have people dress up. People love to dress up.
That's true.
pick up trash.
The best trash
costume.
costume. or
Oh,
something.
okay.
I don't- just- brainstorming.
Trash collector.
We'd have to add that to the flyer.
Brightest, flashiest colors.
Yep. Okay. All right. I was thinking that we should send out a mailing, either by the end of this week or beginning of next.
To get that out to the
Just to all the
organizations.
different organizations. I mean, is it too far in advance? Or, like,
We're talking a month and a half.
yeah, so maybe a month?
Yeah, maybe the
More month-
beginning of
more like a month?
April.
Okay. Beginning of April.
That
Okay,
would
so
be
that's
at
good.
the
That
next,
gives us a
at the end
little
of the
more
next meeting. That way we can kind of finalize everything.
Yeah, okay.
That's true.
Wait, what?
Stuff envelopes.
At
Oh,
the
yeah.
March meeting.
Okay.
And we can kind of come up with just like a pilot idea for the, like, how we want to do the Easter egg hunt, and then run it by everyone. And if we want to tweak it from there.
Mhm.
I'm hopeful for the next meeting to have a lot of it already like outlined out
Mhm.
so that the commission can just kind of, we can,
Yes, no, yes. no,
yes,
yes.
exactly. Because they're gonna be like two kind of big events, back to back.
Cool.
What was the clothing drive edition?
So we had, and this is another thing in there. We were approached by someone from Heart Springs. My name is Lori. I work for Heart Springs Foundation. We turn donations of unwanted clothing into items for Big Brothers Big Sisters youth mentoring. We're doing our third annual Earth Day campaign. We'd love for Torrington to take part by hosting the donation drive on either Saturday, April 19th or Saturday, April 26th. And that's the day of the event, is the 19th.
Basically, we just invite them to come to Cool Park.
Is that, I
Or
mean,
how does it
I
work?
can
So-
ask them. I can
Yeah,
just
so
say
how
what,
does it work? And-
yeah.
So they're looking for donations of clothing.
Right.
Right, but
So
do
what
they,
do do with it?
I don't know if they donated to like,
Do they sell it and get money for
Right.
Big Brothers? I'm sorry about that.
but then like what quality clothing do they need? I always think about that because it's like, where can you actually sell? I mean, I know they can sell in
Clothing is so
bulk.
chintzy.
I know.
From the
They-
beginning,
So this
everything's
is-
falling apart.
This is
So
what she'd
is it?
included. It was Earth Day, and then maybe they have to bring the big truck. Where are they gonna park the truck at Cole Park? That's the kind of question.
On the lawn.
By the dumpster, maybe?
Maybe.
In that parking lot, you'd have to cone off.
Well, the parking lot has so little parking
That's what we want to reserve as much of that for
volunteers.
the back Cook Street. They're going to
They're-
turn that into a parking lot eventually. Where we were gonna wanted to put a food force there, but and that's where they come in to drop the dumpster off. So maybe they could pull the truck in back there. But that the gate is usually, no, the gate's open because
gate is
because they
open.
have to drive
They do,
in.
yeah.
But it looks like they do donations,
Or they could be in
clothing,
the plaza, they're in the
DVDs.
plaza, but not- I mean, obviously you don't want people going back and
Mhm.
forth, but they could just have that sort of, it's like, I don't know. You know, put
Well,
it
I think that
somewhere.
I mean, it looks like it could probably go in the lot where the dumpster is.
I don't know if they're gonna be able to get it because yeah. They could go behind it, right? Like in the driveway to get in and then I mean, basically we would just advertise it on the flyer
Right.
and say, bring your
Truck.
DVDs, housewares. It does make it busier to include all this on a single flyer. Like, come clean up trash and bring your trash or
Yeah.
you bring your stuff. I mean, I don't know if they do promotion. These are all questions I can
Yeah.
try to ask them.
Makes sense to do like a QR code for.
Yeah.
You could do a
That's a good
QR
idea.
code
The,
for that.
For
And then
that.
I think when the mayor posts it, she's there, it could be it could be a couple pages.
Right. But if I can get more information and then we can
We could do
either
multiple
yay or nay
posts
on
it
it
too, yeah.
next month.
Okay.
But I will hold off on the Earth Day. I did put this up it is on the city website.
That's okay.
It's on the mayor's Facebook page. I just wanted to get it up and
Yep.
they wanted stuff to put up, but when I modify it, I can
Yeah,
get the final
why
okay
not
next
post
month.
it multiple times?
Doesn't
So,
matter
it's
if
gonna
it's
help
different.
us.
Yeah,
It's only gonna
time
help
isn't
us.
changing.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. Play some time and
Yeah.
all that. Okay, I'll follow up with them.
All right, so then owl boxes. I already know
Yeah,
the
I
answer
forgot
to
all
that.
about
Okay.
this. So tell me again what I'm supposed to be doing. I honestly.
Did you have a contact at Oliver Wolcott?
My good friend is a teacher there.
Okay,
What was I supposed to do?
so reach out to them and see if the carpentry class or something, or carpentry students can build some owl boxes for us, and they could have the Oliver Wolcott
Owls logo
owls
on it or
logo on it
something.
if they wanted,
Okay.
or
And would we give like
plans.
plans?
I have
Yeah, we
plans.
could get them plans.
Okay.
What do I do with those plans?
Wood, I mean, we can work with them on wood if they don't have it, try to help secure a donation. We can just talk to them about it. Like, what would you need to do this?
Would
What
you
could
be interested? Would it
provide?
be a good project?
Right, exactly. Do they have students that are, I don't know. I mean, it could be a Boy
She's
Scout
a-
project
a
too,
language
but
teacher, so
she could
maybe
connect
just
us.
connect us to the
Yeah.
right person.
it just does seem so cool with the logo, like with it
Yeah,
being,
so
with them
you
being
know,
the
I think that's
owls
right.
and
That way I won't forget.
There you go.
And you can just, if she finds a person, you can push them to me and I'd be happy to kind of have that conversation offline and then bring whatever that. We might have a very busy, I mean, I think this would probably be something for next year because we're kind of, this would be the end of the semester planning through these and then next year. But that actually works out really well next year because ideally we get the Red Mountain Trail done.
Right.
That's one, I think that's like
That's a good
my
time,
pet
right? There's
project to
gonna
put it
be-
right there and like
Yeah.
we can get like the city can get like a cherry picker or something to put it up high in the tree and we can do a little, Thing for it.
I have a bat box I gotta hang to. I actually think my whole front porch is a bat box. Because, you know, I have those big pillars, they're open on the bottom. I have bat and I've seen a bat going in and out of there and I hear something.
you're like, maybe you can go over there.
No, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Like as long as I don't smell anything, as long as I don't see anything.
There's
in the
never
house.
that, there's not really a ton anymore anyway,
Yeah.
where you're getting like a whole like
No.
attic full of guano.
No, so, yeah, and I don't have that kind of attic, but I'm all right with the bats, but I do have a bat box that I've been meaning to put up for maybe close to 20 years, not sure. Okay, so moving on. Have a look. All right, staff update.
Yeah, so open space inventory, we had on this to schedule for March. This was Greenbrier. That was the last site we were at. Did you end up going to that, Karen?
Yeah, it was very thick.
It was bad.
Yeah.
So I sent a letter to the owner. They don't have any other contact with them and just said, hey, we own the conservation land behind it. We have an easement. It's impassable. Do you mind if we could access from the top of the neighborhood that is much more open and we could, if we came in that way, we could bypass that whole
Okay.
section. I haven't heard anything and I sent that a month ago.
Mhm.
So I don't think we're probably not gonna hear anything from them. They haven't contacted the city. I mean, as far as like development plans. So and that site has such a bad history for the last approval was so not good. I don't know. Clearly they want to develop it. So I don't know what the next step is for that site. I mean, it seemed like it's probably untenable to get in that
Is there
way.
yeah, the way that we tried, is there another way? There was another way.
Not that we
could
have legal access
Oh,
to.
okay.
I mean, we could just,
Do it.
I want to say that on the recording, but
Okay,
I don't know.
all right.
There
And
are
those
other
the
ways.
last 2 spaces or how many
No,
more
I
do
think
we
there's a
have?
few. I think there's a handful of other ones.
Like under 10?
They kind of we keep finding new ones that are. There's a weird category of river adjacent properties
Yep.
that were takings from the flood. The city has all these like flood takings along the Naugatuck. And they're like poorly mapped because it was kind of just in the scramble. People were just quick claiming stuff to the city.
Interesting.
They're kind of
I'd be
like
interested in
Public
those.
Works is like, right, they're like riparian buffers and
Yeah.
a lot of them are dikes. Like they built these like uncertified dikes like all over the river and now they're all forested. So it's like they're not,
Acting that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they're clearly doing something, but they were probably, they should be intended to be mowed and maintained.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. Those properties I never really know what to do with as far as like, are they even under conservation? Are they public works properties? They are like flood control. I don't really know what bucket to put them in. But I guess the short answer of all that is we're getting close to the end of the properties that we kind of had already established. Maybe a couple more after this one.
Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's a
Believe
lot.
me. Believe me, that's amazing. And then the other thing that we were looking at adding was, you have to refresh my
Easements?
memory. Yeah, the easements.
That's like
That's a whole other,
yep, it's a whole other
Story.
can of worms.
Okay.
Yeah.
so once this is finished, we might start on
And we
easements.
did,
but we could do the flood takings first.
right.
Does
And
that
that,
sound like fun?
yeah, and that is actually a pet project that our GIS guy, he's so into it. He's just been like pouring through deeds deed descriptions and like digitizing them
Oh, okay.
into like where the city owns and doesn't own.
Uh-huh.
Because if you look at like so like down on yeah. So if you see down here, the buttons there off. The way our GIS show, our public facing GIS shows, like, so this is owned by City of Torrington. That's all Army Corps land that was given to the city with we have to maintain it to keep our flood insurance for the project. It's just like the, what do you call
So is
that?
that by the senior center?
No, this is way
Where's
up.
that?
This is the northern extent of the flood control project. This is
Oh.
like, Pearl, East Pearl.
Oh, okay.
So all the way up to the East
Okay.
Pearl Street Bridge, essentially. And then it's all private from here, but see how you can't click on this kind of interstitial
That one. right
river
there.
area. And there's a ton of them over here. Here's like this
So
is
that-
this is the
that was part of
heritage.
That little strip along.
What, so is it like no man's land? It's not,
So like in here, right? Like there's no
all
ownership
open
assigned to
space.
these. And they're all, so like this one, we actually did an open space visit here. This was the one that we went to. Where they were done, the city is using it the public works to stage stuff.
Yeah,
So Dave went in here and found all these houses that used to be on River Street and like, figured out what they all were, but like some of them he could find and some weren't. So it's kind of like a patchwork, but it's like lost, right? Like the ones that he found, like he couldn't find it formally deeded to the city, but no one owns it, right? So it's kind of a
Perfect.
mess.
wow.
Yeah, and there's just all this area, right? It's just completely undefined as far as, or it is defined, but it's hidden in the
Wow.
deeds. And it's like perfect conservation land. It's all river
Wow, I
adjacent.
know, and
you
it's
know?
like
so the
wildlife
whole
corridor.
project in and
It's
of itself.
conservation land that's been happening on its own.
Yeah, well, it all had the flood.
Yeah.
Like, look at this
Yeah,
piece
Mother
here,
Nature makes things happen.
like this whole bit here.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway,
that is the first I've heard of that, and it makes me really happy.
yeah, well, that Dave is like really, our GIS guy is like, he just gets into these projects. He thinks it's super interesting. Anyway, that's a digression,
Okay.
but we can focus more on that as a commission after we finish this.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool.
Yep,
project
I'd rather
for-
do that than easements at this point.
Yeah, easements are, well, and we
I
didn't do
mean-
nothing on it. I went through remotely with Nearmap and looked, and that's why we had some easement enforcement,
Okay.
so it can do some level of monitoring aerially and see has there been enough of, we maybe aren't gonna catch people who are dumping
Right.
debris in the back of the
Or if they're
easement.
building.
But if they're grading
Yeah.
or clearing or building, we would catch that. So
I made a binder, I don't know how many years ago. Do we know how old that is?
I don't know how old it is, but
I
yeah,
think it was probably around 2011 or 2012.
it has all the easements from that period of time in it, but it's just like the easements and the recorded maps, but there's no like monitoring history, 'cause
Right,
there
right,
really isn't any
there isn't.
monitoring, like
No, there
enforcement
wasn't.
history,
Yeah, that was that binder was like the beginning of
Well,
that.
I mean, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah,
And we don't even have files. We don't even have files for our fee owned properties. Like we don't have like that paper filing cabinet for the fee owned properties.
Mm.
That's on my list as well.
okay.
Um,
Internships.
right.
Okay, so then the HVA crossing. Oh, so in terms of scheduling, we don't have anybody here,
Yeah, let's just,
so,
yeah. And same with that one, punt that one.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then Red Mountain Trail.
I had a conversation with Ocean State Job Lot. They seem tentatively on board.
Okay.
Public Works wants.
Sorry to interrupt. If she can help out finding someone for the owl boxes, is there like a timeline for this?
It'd probably be fall,
Oh, okay. So
fall,
lots of time.
yeah, lots of
Okay.
time. Fall 2025. But yeah, then that would work well with that because ideally we get the trail done and then at the end of their semester, before winter break, they could install them. So they could be part of the installation. Kind of cool. To promote that. But yeah, that's all I have. Shoot, I was gonna do one more. gonna talk about one more thing, but it's escaping me, so.
Oh, so when do we need to get? Do I have them in here? I made a letter on City of Torrington letterhead to solicit donations from retail locations.
Oh,
There it is. Wrong one. So basically, if you take this around and we can figure out who takes it around later, but you got one. I
Alright,
probably
keep it
got
handy.
one,
yep.
but,
Cause they do need that for the I mean, you know that, you did the Big Y donation.
And I went to, I think, Home Depot and I got bags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
yeah,
right. Those places that,
right.
they're always
So-
willing to give up their $25.
Mhm.
So she says, yes, I believe it's Mr. Gargantuan.
Whoa, that's cool.
That is a good name.
Very nice man.
Don't mind the name.
Can I confirm with you tomorrow? Do you want me to mention it to him? We have professional work together tomorrow. I don't have to say anything if you don't want me to.
Why
I
not?
want you
Why
to say
not?
something, yeah.
Introduce it to him. Yeah, introduce the idea.
And if she wants to get me his contact, he doesn't have to reach out to me. If he's interested, she can share his contact with you and I'll follow up with him.
And do you need more information? Or she's good? Like, basically, the owl boxes are kind of like a PR thing, for both the Red Mountain Trail and our rat problem,
Oh,
right? That was one of the things, was to have a predator, or there was like a, on the news about rats in that area.
yeah.
So it was like the Conservation Commission's, response.
Yeah, I think it's a good solution
Yeah.
instead of rat poison. I read about
Right.
in the meeting minutes how, yeah, now you're gonna be killing not only the rats, but whoever's eating
But the
them.
apex
Yeah.
predators of the rats.
And I did get an intern for the NRI. I didn't put that. I guess I should start adding that to this once she starts getting stuff done. She's gonna finish our natural resources inventory for the city. She seems really great, and she's gonna present to the Conservation Commission.
How
I
fun.
get wetlands, invite wetlands too.
Oh,
you
that is
know.
awesome. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it should be good. She's totally into it. It's good. Really good. Okay.
And
All right.
I read in the minutes too about because I missed part of the last meeting, the Red Mountain Trail. Is it completely designed now?
No, we got to the point where, again, it's all taking so long. The route was set. They're not gonna change the grade on that. That's what it's gonna be. The city engineer was kind of like, no. I was like, but I went there and looked at it. The grade really didn't look that bad. I don't know. I thought it was a little over. I mean, it's that area really
Yeah.
well. It's
Yeah, there's
not
nothing where it's like,
crazy.
yeah,
It's just a little, it's a
Yeah.
little bit of a grade to get up onto the trail itself. But after
This is-
that,
This is directly from the parking lot to the trail.
yeah,
Yes? Yeah, I'm very familiar with that. That grade is not so.
I mean,
not a
maybe
big
it
deal.
looks like it's a lot, but it's for a very, very brief period of time. And I don't know, I was looking at it, it's just like, it just doesn't look that big. I don't think we're gonna be able to get there. Yeah, you can't really see it from here. Maybe you can see it at the end of Goodwin. No, not really. Yeah, this isn't helpful.
No, but it's like such a short little,
just
I mean, it is a bit, okay,
But it,
it's kind of steep. But I would think that it would get leveled out a little bit, no?
yeah, it's,
Yeah.
well, and instead of going down, right now, the herd path kind of just goes right down the bank.
It would
It
curve.
swoops,
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
But
I would
Ocean
think
State,
that people on rollerblades are gonna have a lot of fun and living with
well,
what do you call it, like babies?
yeah, well,
It's
and
gonna be fun.
but there was a concern, this is dead flat.
Yeah.
There was a concern of flying out into the intersection. I mean, you're talking the grade this is flat, and then you're at that grade
It's
here,
like a little
and then it's a
bit-
huge, that's
it's not, it's a
like
little bit,
500
it's like,
feet,
it's like 6 steps up. You know
But
what I mean? It's not.
anyway, so we talked with Ocean State. They want to put a fence in. there's a little bit of concern over where people are gonna park. Their handicap spaces are here, which I think are really weird.
That is strange.
So the parking would ideally be like right here, but I don't know if they're gonna buy that. They might say like parking for the trails all the way over here.
If you're willing to
Um,
walk, that's not a big deal.
And the idea is to maybe put like 1 or 2 handicap spaces up top
Uh-huh.
so that they don't have to go up that
Right.
grade, you know?
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna be out there walking and whatever, biking anyway, I wouldn't bother me to park.
For
No,
those
I
further
wouldn't, but I mean,
afoot.
true, if,
But they're worried about that, like, you know, anyone else, it's like, oh, the trail's right there, and they park here and the Planet Fitness customers get pushed out,
Yeah.
right? That's their, which is valid, because that will happen, but they're gonna do it, they wanna do a fence all the way along here to restrict movement so that you have to enter here. So that will help, because you can't park here and
And-
you
and
you
get-
could jump it, but, you
Right.
know, or if it's a guardrail, but a lot of people will walk, so. Anyway, that's all moving forward, state grant, so that's good. Not a federal grant, but yeah, that's that.
cool. All right. So I guess that we will adjourn. And I don't think we need a motion.
No.
We're good.